Kushida got a real opponent this week, and it looks like there's another one waiting in the wings, but the bigger story this week is what the hell is going on with the tag team division. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your May 15th NXT review. And I say this, I've been saying this way too much recently. Sorry about my voice. Still feel like shit. I am just the perpetually sick Spaz Phoenix, your YWC Reality Check. And I mean, I don't do main roster stuff, so I'm thinking I should just change my name to the NXT Reality Check, because NXT UK, and even the Worlds Collide thing was dominated by NXT, was it not? I mean, we're going to talk about Money in the Bank, myself, Kristen, Guapo, some combination of the three of us, probably tomorrow night. Not doing the pay-per-view pick'em thing anymore. I still very much welcome you guys to join the conversation in the comment section below when we do discuss the pay-per-views or whatever, but the pay-per-view pick'em, the ranking system, whatever, that is going on the shelf for a little bit in favor of a more generic conversational type of video. I hope you guys enjoy that. If you guys were really enjoying the pay-per-view pick'em concept, might come back later on. I mean, if you guys still want to interact with me, you can definitely still throw your questions in the Q&A. There's another one coming up right before SummerSlam weekend. Now, I will tell you, of all the Q&As that I have done, the one most likely to get left until after the weekend is over is the one leading into SummerSlam, because not only am I going to TakeOver, to SummerSlam, to Raw, to SmackDown, I am also going to Destiny Icons that Friday, and I don't know whether that's going to be televised or not, which is a bummer. Right now, we know for sure that Tenille Dashwood is going to be there. I'm really hoping that she's taking on Shotzi Blackheart, but they haven't announced that yet. Joey Ryan is on the card, and I'm kind of hoping that he takes on Stone Rockwell, because that'd be hilarious. Josh Alexander will be defending his title against I don't know who. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Channing Decker, but I don't really know. And the main event that they announced this past weekend at the Sunday Night Retro Show, the main event for Icons 2 is in fact going to be a 6-man tag, OVE versus SCU. You guys know I'm not a really big indie aficionado, but even I know that that's a really big main event. And I really hope that I get the news later on down the line that it'll be televised. But for now, I will tell you guys that, yeah, if you figure that NXT is taped before a TakeOver in the venue, etc., and if you figure that 205 Live is filmed after SmackDown, your boy Spaz Phoenix is going to be seeing approximately 7 shows in 5 days that weekend, and it's going to be fucking phenomenal. So yes, the Q&A will come probably after SummerSlam. If I can get it cranked out beforehand, I will try, but there's no promises. We'll definitely be doing a preview for TakeOver Toronto and SummerSlam, but we have TakeOver 25 before that, so we'll do that as well, and it's not attached to any other pay-per-view, which is all kinds of weird. Anyways, on with the house cleaning. Go up in the annotation up above. Check out the playlists for NXT, NXT UK, Worlds Collide. Check out the off-the-cuff topical series. There's going to be more topics coming soon. I promise there are movie reviews. Eventually, myself and Kristen are going to be doing something for Endgame. I just don't know when. I have to see it again. There are things that I will pick apart in what is otherwise a pretty fucking fantastic movie. I've already mentioned the Q&A, but I'll mention it again. Go back to the Q&A that I did right after WrestleMania. Put your questions down in the box below. Get your questions answered sometime around SummerSlam is the most fair way to say it. So let's get on to this week, May 15th, NXT. We start off with Mauro Ranallo and Percy Watson. Sorry, no, not Percy Watson. Mauro Ranallo and, what the hell is his name? It's that kind of night, guys. I'm sorry. Nigel McGuinness, Mauro Ranallo, bidding a fond farewell to Percy Watson, wishing him live on air best of luck in his future endeavors, etc., and then introducing Beth Phoenix to the commentary table, which I will say, it's a lot like Renee Young joining Raw in the sense of she's not spectacular. She didn't set the world on fire, but it's different, and the sound is different. And for those of you that have been watching NXT long enough to remember when Renee Young was testing herself out on NXT commentary, it was significantly better than that. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of Renee Young. So take that comment with a grain of salt. Now we get the Viking Raiders out on NXT. And they kind of get booed in a way. They get cheered when their music hits, whatever. And they get booed when the announcer announces them, because the announcer announces them as the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. Which, I mean, NXT is the smarky crowd. We know that these are the War Raiders / War Machine, Rowan, Hanson, etc. So when the name thing happens, their cheers turn to boos for just a second. And it's weird. These guys, maybe they were elsewhere, but in NXT and on the main roster, these guys are not promo guys. And they shouldn't have to be. They're fucking monsters. The larger of the two does a lot of cartwheels later on in the night. Spoiler alert. But basically they came out and they said, for weeks and weeks and weeks now, we've been raiding Monday Night Raw, which isn't really true. But we'll roll with it. They asked Regal to come out with them. Says there's no one out here that can take these titles off of us, so we're just here to relinquish them. Which is a little lame, a little lazy, but whatever. The Street Profits come out, interrupt them, and say, you say nobody can beat you. Well, that might be true. Everybody else is afraid of you, but we brought the fight to you before. We didn't win, but we proved something to you. We proved something to the crowd, and you know that we can beat you. The Street Profits can beat you. You on Raw now because you know the Street Profits can beat you. And it's cool because there was a chant that rose up from the crowd. It started slow and it got more and more as we went. And it wasn't like, just let them fight or make the match or whatever. It was just ring the bell. The crowd just chanting ring the bell over and over and over again. And then one more time, I think it was Angelo Dawkins, could have been Montez Ford. I'm not sure because my brain's not working today. But he says, what do you think? Can the Street Profits beat the Viking Raiders? If that is your real name. That was good. That was an NXT style pop. It's for the smart fans. And just to acknowledge that, hey, we know that what's going on in the main roster is bullshit. And if you read the dirt sheets or listen to JD just yell into his screen, you'll know that Triple H is as frustrated with Vince and the main roster as everybody else. So if he's going to start sending digs to Vince through his characters on NXT, which apparently he doesn't watch, that's a good bit of business, and it'll make the crowd happy. They'll pop. They'll feel like they've done something. Everybody wins. War Raiders. Look at Regal. They take their belts back from Regal and say, okay, make the match. Regal agrees. We're going to have the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits later on in the evening tonight. Now, when I talk about that match later on tonight, you guys know I do my little rundown per match, etc. I'm going to be referring to them as Hanson and Rowe because I know that they're Eric and Ivar now, but nobody has done any type of good job letting me know which one is Eric and which one of them is Ivar. The Eric thing is funny as well because we couldn't have Eric Rowan be Eric Rowan because there was already an Eric Young in WWE. So they bring up Rowe, who can't be Rowe anymore because of Rowan, but he's Eric. There's a reason I don't review Raw and SmackDown, guys. There really is. I am more likely, as much as it pains me to admit, and as much as it will go against all the jokes that I've told so far about T-shirt wrestling, I am more likely to come up here and try reviewing Tuesday Night Dynamite than I am to start reviewing Raw and SmackDown again. And you guys know how I feel about that. We get a series of videos after this. We get a recap of Riddle versus Cole last week, Strong getting involved, Strong costing him the match, the breakdown of Undisputed Era. We get an exclusive of them arguing in the parking lot, and Roderick Strong tossing his colors like the yellow armband, the yellow t-shirt, tossing them all back at Adam Cole. And then we see the three members of the Undisputed Era being interviewed live outside, outside the arena, talking about, is there any dispute between you and Roddy? Are you still the leader of the Undisputed Era? Adam Cole goes into a big spiel, but hey, we all know, say what anybody will, but we all know who's the leader of the Undisputed Era, and in which case you see a bunch of people running around in the background, some screaming, some gasping, etc. It's something off screen. And then Roderick Strong says, I thought about what you said last week, and we are better as a team, we are better as a unit, and I've solved your Matt Riddle problem, to which he holds up clearly a prop, but it's funny and it works because we let it work. He just holds up a bloody flip-flop. The idea being that he has just kicked the ever-loving shit out of Matt Riddle off screen, so we don't get to see it, which is nice. But Roddy Strong is back in the fold. He gets handed his armband. He puts the armband back on. He had a t-shirt of somebody, and I think it said Supernova. I was trying to see if it was, by some stretch of the imagination, Noam Dar shirt. I don't think it was, but it was all like galaxy colored. If you've ever seen Adam Cleary from What Culture in that really, really weird space jacket that he has on in some of his videos, it kind of was that kind of design on a t-shirt, and it did say Supernova. So it might be that he was wearing a Noam Dar shirt, which is fine. Noam Dar is on the other NXT, the cousin NXT, and it's still weird that they call it that. Keith Lee is back on NXT, and I could tell you about the match, but basically he destroyed Cesar Bononi. I like Keith Lee. I like his entrance music. People online were more freaking out about his entrance music than about this match, because nobody gives a good goddamn about Cesar Bononi. He wins with the pounce and a pop-up Batista bomb, which is good. I really could talk about the match, but why? There's like a high knee and some body shots. Oh, I will talk about this. There was a high knee and some body shots by Cesar at one point in the match. That's all the offense that he got. And then he gets Keith Lee down to one knee, and Keith Lee does this really weird thing. He sort of reaches up nice and calmly, and he grabs him by the right wrist. And he doesn't do anything. He just holds him in his big ass, like, Mark Henry 2.0 grip. And Cesar Bononi tries to get free because he's going to bounce off the ropes and do something, or he's going to pull back a little bit to get a jab in, whatever. And Keith Lee just holds him there with the grip. And the commentators, I will say, and I think this credit goes to Beth Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, talking about the hand strength, the grip strength, the joint strength in the hand to just hold another full-size human being just by the wrist, just by one hand. So that was a cool moment in the match. The rest of the match was just Keith Lee kicking the ever-loving shit out of Cesar Bononi. And they kept on talking about how tall and wiry Cesar Bononi is, and I just don't care in the slightest, do I? Forgotten Sons are filmed in the back, complaining to one of the talking heads in the back about Street Profits getting gifted another title shot. When they weren't gifted another title shot, the champions literally said, okay, let's go. So that was kind of dumb. Street Profits, or no, not Street Profits, the Forgotten Sons, I've said forever, are missing something. I will say what I said a couple weeks ago, and that is if they ever do another crossover with NXT UK, like their own version of like bragging rights or whatever, that kind of thing, or another Worlds Collide, you have these three guys take on the three guys from Gallus. That would be a good match. That would sort of put these guys on the map. But until then, I want to like them. That's the thing. The thing is, I want to like them because they are decent in the ring. Some of their offense is great. They're not spectacular. They're not setting the world on fire. But I want to like them. But they're that Lost Boys outsider type of gimmick. And it's just too closely on the heels of groups like Sanity. It's too closely on the heels of groups like the Wyatt family to just slot into that spot. Somehow Sanity avoided it. When the Wyatt family went to the main roster and Sanity came in, they avoided that, okay, the Wyatt family's gone and they're just here to fill that void. Sanity left. We didn't really want Sanity to leave. And now it feels like the Forgotten Sons are trying to be in that spot, the whole do unto others thing, and we will not be forgotten. It's all a little on. There's intensity there, and I think they've got like the scraps of a good idea, the beginnings of an identity. But I don't hate them. I don't want them off my television. I'm waiting for them to give me more. I'm waiting for them to be given the chance to give me more. I don't know. I feel like, and I say this every week a lot, they just need something. I feel like since they debuted on NXT, they've been on the cusp of something for a long time. And when somebody stays on the cusp for a long time, you start lulling into that feeling of, okay, they just live on the cusp. And they're never going to get over, they're never going to get to that last rung of the ladder that means I care about them being on my TV. Apparently, when they first started on the house shows and whatnot, they were managed by Lacey Evans. I was told that. I haven't seen that. I haven't read that anywhere. If somebody knows about that, please let me know down in the box below. And I'm going to apologize once again because my voice is almost gone. But we have Kushida, who debuted last week against Cassius Ohno. Unfortunately for him, because I really don't care about Cassius Ohno. But he debuted. I like his entrance. I like his gimmick. The whole Back to the Future thing is really, really cool. The entrance kind of works with the black light and you know, he's got the wristwatch drawn onto his wrestling tape, which I think is kind of nice. But this week he's not facing Kona. He's not facing. Yeah, they just gave it away. He's not facing Cassius Ohno. He's facing Kona. Don't call me the Rock Reeves, and he's actually got a good match this week. There's a collar double type and a front slam by Kona, takedown by Kishida, a series of snapmares by Reeves. Kishida works the arm in a series of arm drags by Kishida, drags him into another armbar and then into a key lock by Kishida. Now out onto the rampway comes Drew Gulak, which immediately gets my attention in a very, very strange way. Because Drew Gulak, in general, is not somebody that I really care about. Not somebody that I really cared about in the Cruiserweight Classic, not somebody I really cared about when I was watching 205 Live. But he showed up randomly on NXT a while ago and had an absolutely crackerjack match with Matt Riddle. Out of nowhere comes this hidden gem, instant classic potential for NXT match that he had with Matt Riddle. So here's this guy that I don't care about unless he's on NXT, which I guess is a selling point for NXT. But he's just sitting there. He's not being an asshole. He's not trying to be a distraction. He's just sitting there and he's just watching. And the subtlety of that, for him to not be, you know, showing up on the Titantron and making a big bombastic entrance and distracting the guy in the ring. He's just standing there. And he's just watching and he's just observing and analyzing, and it's really good. And it never plays a part in the match, but he's always just out of screen. If you've ever seen the original Halloween, somebody pointed out this to me a while ago, and I'm not calling Drew Gulak a horror character by any stretch of the imagination. There are moments in Halloween where they play with the frame of the movie, where there's characters and they're just talking and they're interacting, and there's kids talking to their parents, and, you know, parents talking to each other, or kids talking to their friends or whatever. And every so often, you don't even notice it unless you do, is Michael's car in the very, very outskirts of the frame of the film. And it's once you get it pointed out to you, it's very disorienting, because your eye constantly looks around the screen to see if he's there or not, while you're still trying to take in what's happening in the center of the scene. Now, that's a really shitty way for me to describe some filming technique in a really old horror movie, but that's kind of what this was here. You knew Drew Gulak was there, and the commentary just subtly reminded you every now and then, oh, they hit a move. Oh, wonder what Gulak's thinking about that. He's taking it in from the side, you know. Never comes in, because it never becomes something, and you're waiting for it to become something. He's in the back of your mind as you're watching the rest of this match, is what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying very badly with my very, very shitty, sick-sounding voice. Again, apologies. Head scissors by Kishida, mudhole stomp by Reeves, and he works on the left hand. He running knee by Reeves, a snap suplex and a neck vice. Both men trade some strikes. Handspring elbow by Kishida. Basement dropkick by Kishida. Hoverboard lock. He turns his attention just slightly to Drew Gulak on the ramp, because apparently Gulak's been talking some shit about him on Twitter. I don't know. I don't follow Gulak on Twitter. Just saying. Handspring heel kick by Kishida, a top rope cannonball, second hoverboard lock gets the win for Kishida, and all he does is just sort of confidently, with a bit of a smirk, not being a dick, not even really throwing out a challenge, just sort of smiles, points up the ramp at Gulak. Gulak, just without really nodding, sort of gives the whole situation a nod and walks off. Very, very subtle seeds planted for that. We got, I don't know what that sound was, by the way. TakeOver 25, if this is going to be that other match. Now, I said for a long-ass time, NXT had a formula. Men's title shot, women's title shot, tag title shot, and 2 other random matches. Now, one of those 2 matches was taken up by the North American title. Sometimes that spot was taken up by the WWE United Kingdom Championship, but you always had that sort of one other match. And that match always stuck out by virtue of the fact that it wasn't a title match. If you want to throw Drew Gulak and Kishida on the 25th anniversary, I guess you could say, of the first TakeOver. It's not anniversary, but it's the 25th TakeOver, period. I think it'd be good. I think it would be sort of a sleeper hit. I think it would take the spot of what you would typically include, maybe a Pete Dunne match, or a Mustache Mountain match, or, you know, Velveteen Dream before he got himself a title. or, you know, people like that. Finn Balor when he didn't have a title to fight for. Now, on the topic of TakeOver, I will say we're getting another pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, and I know that divides the crowd. I've got my... there was a really, really good video that Kristen and I did right before Crown Jewel, and it wasn't really a preview of the show. It was just discussing sort of the existence of the show, and I gave my full rundown of what I thought of the Saudi Arabia deal at the time. Not entirely good, not entirely bad. Go check it out if you want a really long and drawn-out version of my opinion of that whole situation. But that being said, it's called Super Showdown. Now, everybody's saying that the Australian show was called Super Showdown last year. Now, it's not very creative, I'll give you that. It's not particularly exciting, I'll give you that as well. But if they are just going to flip a switch in the WWE, and this is the only time I'm really going to touch on this, really, if they're going to take all these international shows now, if they do another one in Australia, they have the deal with the KSA. If they decide to do one like a proper WWE pay-per-view in the UK, or maybe they do one in Japan or Australia where there's a huge hub of talent and fandom and all that sort of thing. If they just want to generically refer to those pay-per-views as Super Showdowns, it sounds really lame. People have said it to me on Twitter. It sounds really lame. Why don't they give each other a specific name? Roddy Roddy Raw. Well, all of NXT's shows are called TakeOver. Now, they're TakeOver Toronto, TakeOver Chicago, TakeOver Philadelphia, whatever the case may be, but they're just called takeovers. Why can't the international shows just be called Super Showdowns? Super Showdown Australia. I mean, they won't call it Super Showdown Saudi Arabia. They'll call it, but they could call it Super Showdown Jeddah, Super Showdown Taiwan, Super Showdown Japan. They could go the simplistic route, and guys, TakeOver is not my only example. You used to have all the pay-per-views except the big four called In Your House. In Your House, Beware of Dog. In Your House, Beware of the Taker. In Your House, you know, No Way Out, or all that sort of thing. It's not the worst thing in the world. It sounds sort of generic and bland in a bubble, but it taps into more of what's already embedded in the history of WWE than you may initially think. And I ask you guys to think about that before you completely take a crap on my idea. If you take a minute and think about it, still want to crap on my idea, cool. That's what the comment section is for. Bianca Belair in the back tries to talk some shit to Mia Yim. Mia Yim puts her in her place. We're going to get a rematch between these guys soon. Now, because people know me and know what I like, I know what's happening in 2 weeks between these two. It makes me smile a whole damn bunch, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We get the announcement. I don't know if this is an announcement or not. I don't know whether this was announced previously or not, because like I say, my brain is not working tonight. Gargano Cole 2 is happening at TakeOver 25, which is all good. Vanessa Bourne takes on Jessie, and I don't care. Aaliyah helps her cheat to win, and Jessie, who nobody really remembers from the Mae Young Classic, takes an L. They play her up in the match that she should have the advantage. She's got the bigger reach, she's taller, she may have a power advantage, and then she just loses to Vanessa Bourne, who is bland as hell, in my opinion, and I really wish they hadn't teamed up Aaliyah with her, because I like Aaliyah, and I think Aaliyah has a lot more to offer. Io Shirai is taking on Shayna Baszler at TakeOver 25 as well. I wish it was me. I am really sorry. I wish it was Mia Yim, but that means we might get Mia Yim at TakeOver Toronto, which I will be at. So I'll take the lump here to get the win over here. Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders for the NXT Tag Team Championships, except, oh, no, it's not. Dropkick by Rowe, snapmare and a high knee. Rowe throws Hansen into the Profits. There's a spear by Dawkins. Boot by Hansen. Spinebuster by Dawkins. Splash by Ford. Sit out senton by Hansen. Rowe works on the arm. As the Forgotten Sons, all three of them run down the rampway and into the ring and get involved and brawl with the Profits. They brawl with the Raiders. Lorcan and Birch join in. There's a cannonball off the apron by Hansen onto everybody, which is fucking terrifying. Lorcan and Birch, as I say, join in the fight. The Profits, after Hansen takes his spill to the outside, they get Rowe in the ring. I don't know if the camera cut improperly, but I didn't quite see what they did to Rowe. Obviously, the match has already ended in disqualification, but they double team Rowe and get a pin and celebrate in the ring like they just won the titles, which is great, and then they leave. Nigel McGuinness and Mauro Ranallo on commentary was, well, what does this mean? Who are the champions? Well, clearly the champions are still the Viking Raiders because the match ended in DQ, but the Raiders beat up Lorcan and Birch in the middle of the ring for reasons. They throw Lorcan and Birch out of the ring onto the Sons of Anarchy. Forgotten Sons. Sorry guys, video is almost over. I got this much left. They're alone in the ring. They pause for a minute. They do the whole horns up thing. They rock out with the crowd a little bit longer. And then they put their titles down on the ground. They leave their titles on the mat in the center of the ring. They give one last bow and what I assume is their last night in NXT. They get the applause that they need, and then the show quickly cuts out on the image of them leaving the title belts in the middle of the ring. So there's a whole bunch of cool shit going on right here. Roderick Strong has apparently brutalized Matt Riddle to get his good graces back with the Undisputed Era. You've got all kinds of people that want those tag team titles. You got Io Shirai getting her title shot at TakeOver. You got Cole Gargano 2 at TakeOver. You got Keith Lee back in NXT because apparently he was minorly injured and nobody cares about Cesar Bononi. You got Kushida in there. He's doing cool shit against an opponent that I actually care about. I mean, Kona Reeves is just there to lose as much as Cesar Bononi was, but at least I like Kona Reeves, and it just makes me think of going to WWE.com and reading the article on the imminent arrival of DJZ, which will make me smile a whole bunch and have you guys all calling me a nerd in the comment section, and that's just fine. That's just wonderful. That's just what we do as wrestling fans. I really do appreciate you guys taking a minute at the beginning of this to listen to me ramble about the Destiny stuff. I know a lot of you are from very far away, and with all due respect to Destiny, probably don't care about an indie show that I went to. But for those of you that do, and those of you that have seen the videos I've put out in the past couple of days, the retro show that I was at this past Sunday was a lot of fun. Gangrel was supposed to be there. He couldn't make it, but I saw the Destiny guys that I like, Josh Alexander, Channing Decker, Kobe Durst, Aiden Prince, a bunch of guys in Destiny that I like, but I also got to see and meet Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which was really cool, Billy Gunn, which is really cool. Go check out one of the videos I put. It's him just cutting a 7-minute promo on All Ego Ethan Page, cutting a promo on the Canadian crowd, on the WWE Hall of Fame, hyping up AEW. It's a lot of fun. There's another one going up soon where I can't even remember the gentleman's name, but the guy that fought Hacksaw Jim Duggan beat him up after the match, and he was saved by RJ City, who then came out as tribute to Hacksaw Jim Duggan singing the theme from Golden Girls. And if you can't have that kind of fun at an indie show, I really don't know what you're doing here. If you came here for serious wrestling analysis, you are on the wrong channel. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Thanks, guys.